I'm going to anticipate that the next few movies were also done by 20th Century Fox. Unlike the last movie, where there is background text, we are shown the credits with Basil smoking his pipe in the shadows. This is a little closer to the Universal intros, but still a little more progress to be made. The movie starts in a court, deciding the fate of Dr. Moriarty. He is a rather interesting villain, being equal to Sherlock in every way, except for how he uses his genius. This character also appears in Arthur Wanter's Murder at the Baskervilles, as well as the first Robert Downey Jr. movie. I think there is a sequel, but you can feel free to correct me on that. The court adjourns with Moriarty set to go free, due to lack of evidence. Just then, Sherlock bursts through the door saying he has proof. This is too late, as the sentence has already been given, though. On the way back to Baker Street, Moriarty offers Sherlock a ride. On the ride, there is some harsh back and forth, but you can tell there is mutual respect between the two. Before the ride ends, Moriarty threatens Sherlock with pulling off a great heist. We then cut to Moriarty's estate, where he is unhappy that his plants have not been taken care of. After some harsh words with the butler, an accomplice comes in, who I swear looks just like the head of police in the Scarlet Claw. Moriarty then gives a brief outline of his plan. Unlike Frank Herbert's Dune, Moriarty gives only the setup and not all the details. His idea is to distract Sherlock with two cases. The first being an odd drawing with the date May 11th on it. The other, a threat to steal a priceless emerald. Before leaving, the accomplice wonders why he has a weird man playing a flute in the back. To this he replies,
I rather like it.
We then cut to Sherlock playing his violin to see how flies react to it. Personally, I feel this is brilliant, both showing that Moriarty and Sherlock are geniuses, but both are just as crazy in their own right. At Sherlock's estate, these two mysteries are brought to him. Seeing that there would be no way to pawn off such an emerald, he puts his focus into the drawing. The latter case is brought by a young woman, who starts off by saying she may have been followed. This is where it starts to get complicated. I'm not even sure if even I have all the details right, but I'll do my best. Essentially, the drawing is a warning for a murder to the recipient, her older brother. A similar drawing was sent to his late father before he died. Now, when the movie begins, Moriarty is charged with the crime of murder. Whether he did it or it was his accomplice is never really said. What the drawing really is a distraction. While Sherlock is looking into the deeper meaning of this message, the murder happens. Later on, the same message is sent to the woman with the date of the 13th. The night the message is received, there is a mysterious beggar outside her window playing a haunting tune. At first, this confused me. I thought this was the music to set the mood, not what the actual characters were hearing. As such, I had no idea what the characters were looking for. I just figured something rather ominous was in the background, but they're just trying to figure out where the music's coming from. Once I gathered they were looking for this music, it started to make a lot more sense. The woman screams in terror after hearing this music. The last time she heard this tune was when her father was killed. It's later revealed that this tune is used in South American funerals, which coincides with evidence found at the crime scene. More than that, I feel would be spoilers. There are a lot of details in this movie that make it very slow-moving and really hard to follow at times. It's a slow burn, however it pays off with a really good climax. I will say, there are a few things that were letdowns for me. The first is this butler character. He is treated quite brutally by Moriarty. I was hoping he'd end up being the demise of Moriarty, but that never happened. The other is how this murder case is presented. If the murder was just the main setup of the movie, it would be a lot more interesting. Instead, we as the audience know that this is just a distraction from the real case, leaving it really hard to get vested in. Then, when we do get to the real case, it's not until practically the end of the picture. While I said the ending climax is great, probably my favorite in this entire series so far, it takes a while to get there. I want to make perfectly clear, I don't think this is a bad movie. It kept my interest, but not so much as the other ones did. Plus, on top of that, I just felt confused about some of the major plot points. For those that don't want spoilers, I'll end it here. For those that don't mind, there are some other things I want to talk about. The first is the accomplice. I love this guy's presence throughout the entire movie. He reminds me a lot of Red Grant in From Russia with Love. Both play a shadow that shows up whenever something interesting is about to happen. The second is the plan. I think it was great, stealing the jewels off the crown as to sneak them out without anybody noticing. Plus, Sherlock couldn't devote all his resources to this one, leaving Moriarty the advantage. The third is Moriarty. I was disappointed in several aspects. Don't get me wrong, I think the actor does a really good job with him, and I think he's really well written. However, these are just petty things for me. The first is, he dies at the end. I was hoping this character would be a lot like Blofeld in the Bond series, the grand antagonist that never leaves the hero alone, but yet is just off there in the distance, waiting for his next big break. The second is the death itself. First off, Sherlock strikes me more as how Batman would treat a criminal. He would rather see the criminal do justice than to kill him. Here, Sherlock practically throws him off the building, which kind of goes against the whole mutual respect talked about at the beginning. I would have preferred to see it more like an accident. For example, say Moriarty is about to tackle Sherlock, but then ducks just in time to avoid him. This leap would then prove too much, leaving him to fall over the balcony. Then, maybe Sherlock would try to catch him, but just missing before he fell to his death. The third thing is, there's no screen. I know it's a petty thing, but come on, if you're gonna have a villain fall from a great height, you really need a good screen. Let's just compare the scenes, okay? This is the original. And this is just with a stock scream sound effect I added. Now isn't that a lot more haunting? Maybe this is just a deeper meaning, kind of the idea that Moriarty accepted his fate and he's not gonna let anybody stop him. Well, anyway, join me next time for Sherlock Holmes and the Voice of Terror. Just for that title alone, it sounds like it's gonna be a better one than this.